There was one thing that was a little tricky for me to understand, and it had to do with the tone of the piece. And I found the tone at the end and the beginning very different from the tone during the piece. So if I was picturing like listening to a piece of music while I was watching the piece, I was feeling like the music would be very different kind of music that would be at the end or the beginning. Because in the middle, I really heard the music when I was watching the skating, and I feel like in the beginning and at the end, there was like this very silent quality to it that was different from the rest, and I felt like I didn't quite understand how it really fit together, which made me, a little bit confused, or I was asking, like, I was trying to figure out if it was nostalgia and whether, how much of it was currently happening or how much was happening in your mind. And so then that was one question I had. I know it's a little tricky for me to try to explain it, over the video, but I think it had to do with like the quality of the gesture and where it came from. Like after you're doing all this really big movement, how do you resolve like really big movement down into something that becomes a very simple gesture? And there's something about the timing of it and the rhythm of it from the culmination of all that big movement into the small gesture that sort of does have that feeling of hitting home at the end. And there was just something that I wanted a little bit different with the rhythm for it to really resonate at home. But there was, but I really enjoyed the piece as a whole, and I really liked that sort of those gestures. I thought it was very interesting to watch. So I'm going to give this piece 4.5 stars. Yeah, so that's my feedback for that. Okay, then the next piece is Heidi's, and Garrett was skating in it, and I loved watching Garrett skating. The pattern and the ice coverage were really nice. I thought the choreography was really fun. And I know that there was this like building more at the end of the piece, and at that point was around like 1:57 on the video, was when I was really starting to feel the rhythm of the music. And so I found myself asking, how could I feel the rhythm of the music more for the first part of the piece before that? Like, what would I need to be able to feel like I could feel the rhythm of the music there? And I think that there is some connection to the tone too, because the tone wasn't quite so clear to me, or for the first part, like the intention of it. And I know it's supposed to be like a Mardi Gras thing, and then there's something at the end that says that it was his first time at Mardi Gras. And so I was wondering if, like with the movement, if there was a little bit more chaos in the beginning, like, getting pulled from into one thing or pulled into something else, or like your attention being like diverted and drawn into different directions, as opposed to having really good body control and really like making it very clear that you're looking this way and this way. So I wondered if there was like a little more chaos kind of like physically, that would like contribute to the chaos of the overall, experience, and sort of help with that building at the end and make sense when he completely collapses on the ice. So that was one question I had, is how that would, you know, sort of like fill in that first half of the piece for me a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much my feedback. And yeah, so just sort of like for there to be like more craziness leading up to the final, thing, and final collapse. So, but yeah, and I felt like it was fun, and I enjoyed that sort of like upbeat, and the fact that he was able to do so many jumps and quick changes of direction like that really added to the piece. So I felt the choreography was effective in that way. So I'm going to give this piece 3.5 stars. And then for the last piece was Sarah, and with Sarah's piece, I I feel like right from the very beginning, I had a sense that there was that she was listening to music, even though, or I should speak to you, Sarah, that you were listening to music, even though I couldn't, even though nobody could hear it. Like I could hear it because I could, I felt like I could hear the music when I saw you skating, and for me that was really effective. You know, that was kind of what I was looking for in this exercise, and so there was a very clear tone from the beginning to the end, and there was music happening in this part of your body. I felt like your chest was, breathing, and there was like this sense of being carried by something, because when you're listening to music, the music carries you along. And even if there's no audible music, but you're feeling the music in your body or listening to the way your body is moving, there's a sense of being carried by that. And I felt like that was happening in this piece. So it made it, for me, it made it like more integrated and seamless. And I enjoyed watching that a lot. And I felt like the ending after the last movement down, and then the stop, and then there's like another movement down and going around to get the umbrella. That part I felt dropped off in terms of strength of intention. And I would have liked there to be some more conclusion or resolution or sense of like finality in the introspection, like so that if you're thinking about something and then there's this sense of like, oh, I've reached some final thought about it, or there's some reason why I'm going to finish here, or why I'm going to go back and get my umbrella and move on, or so there was a thought, like I felt like there's a little lack of clarity in the intention for the ending, but the rest of it I found very very cohesive and enjoyable. I think that another choice was to have the focus downward so often, and I felt like I enjoyed it sometimes, but then other times I wanted there to be a sense of seeing out a little bit more, and then going back so that the introspection aspect or the looking down would register more, because you occasionally show a contrast. So that was something that I think would help the piece too. But as far as choreography goes, I did enjoy this one a lot, and so I would like to give it 4.5 stars. So I believe that I made it through everybody. So thank you guys all, and I'm looking forward to watching the next round, and I really appreciate everybody's effort in putting these pieces together, because I know that it's not easy, and it's really good to be putting yourself out there. So take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye.